Hi everyone, it's Mrs. O'Brien, and for today's writing lesson, we're going to talk about how to respond to a friendly letter that we've received from someone. So just reviewing again the parts of a friendly letter and then looking at how we're going to respond. So for our date, you put the date that you're responding to that letter. For me, it's May 11th, 2020. And then this is going to look a little funny because I'm responding as Miss Minier to the letter I wrote the other day. So if I'm Miss Minier and I'm responding to Mrs. O'Brien, I would say, "Dear Mrs. O'Brien," and then I would have a comma. So for example, if Phoebe and Audrey are writing to each other and Audrey sends Phoebe a letter, then Phoebe would say, "Dear Audrey." That's how she would respond. So in the body of the letter this time, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to thank that person for writing you a letter because it was so nice of them to take the time to write a letter to you. So you're going to say thank you for that. Then the next thing that you're going to do is respond to the story that they told you. And then the final thing you're going to do is that you're going to answer the question that they asked you. And then we'll finish up our letter with our closing. Again, this time it's going to be your friend, or that's what I'm using. And then my example of my signature this time is Miss Minier. So let's take a look at how to do this. Okay, so you have the option of writing on this paper, printing it out and writing on this paper, or you can write on your own paper. Whichever you want to do is fine. So just to remind us, we've got the letter here from last time, and this is the letter we're responding to. So we'll read some of it, and then we'll see how we're going to respond. So remember, our last letter was written on May 6th, and that was me writing to Miss Minier. And in that letter, I had told her I had updated what my family was doing. I told her my story about running on the trail and falling. And then I asked her the question of what her favorite thing was to do. So this is the letter we're going to respond to. And let's take a look at how we respond. And this time, I have written my letter on a piece of notebook paper because I'm always modeling it on this paper that we print. But I wanted you to see what it looks like if you're writing on your own notebook paper and how that might just look a little bit different. So in my letter, I've responded. I start with my date, May 11th, 2020. I say, "Dear Mrs. O'Brien," or "Dear Audrey," or "Dear Phoebe," or "Dear Coco," "Dear Walker." Whoever you're responding to is what you put there, and you put your comma. And the first thing I do is I thank them for writing a letter to me. So let's see how I did that. I said, "Thank you for your letter. I am so happy that you wrote to me." And you can make this a little longer if you want, but it doesn't have to be long. It's just important to acknowledge that they took the time to write you a letter and thank them for it. So there's my thank you. And then in my next paragraph is where I'm going to respond to the story they told me. So let's see how you can do that. "I really enjoyed hearing about your trail run. It sounded like a beautiful day and a gorgeous trail. I was very sad to hear that you got hurt, however. I hope that you are feeling better now." So the way I responded to their story is I mentioned what their story was about. I enjoyed hearing about your trail run. And then I made a little bit of a note about what they were doing. And finally, I told them I was sad to hear that they had gotten hurt. So I told them how their story made me feel. And in this one, because I was responding to someone getting hurt, I just said, "I hope you're feeling better now." Okay, and then in my last paragraph, I really want to make sure that I remember to answer their question. Answer their question. So let's see how I did that. "Like you, I enjoy being outside in the sunshine. However, I prefer to go hiking instead of running. One of my favorite things to do is go on a hike first thing in the morning." So I commented about what they had said. In the letter, they had said that one of their favorite things to do was go running outside. And so I said, well, I like to be in the sunshine, but I prefer to go hiking. So that's how I sort of tied this first part back to their letter. And then I told them a little bit more about my favorite thing. I like to go hiking first thing in the morning. So that's how I answered the question. And then, like last time, I just want to follow up with a little bit more of a closing than just your friend. I've got a statement here that I want to add that finishes off the letter in a nice way. It makes me so happy to share letters with you. I hope that we can continue to correspond. And if correspond is a new word for you, that's a word that means write back and forth or communicate with each other. And then I finish up with your friend, comma, and then I'm writing this as Miss Minier, so I sign Miss Minier, but you would sign your name here. So this is how you write a response to a letter. Really important that you're thanking them for taking the time to write to you. You're acknowledging what they said in their letter, and you're answering any questions that they asked of you. And I wanted to point out a few other things that we've been talking about all along, and that is that we're indenting our paragraphs here, and that we have some transition words in here, and we have some and that we're mentioning some things that they wrote in their letter. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy responding to your friend. This is another situation where once you write this letter, you're going to put it in an envelope and mail it back to your friend because they are really looking forward to getting your response. And just really quickly, aside from this letter writing, completely unrelated, if you saw me looking to the side, it's because a dog I don't know kept walking by my sliding door. So that was grabbing my attention. So thank you for being patient with me. All right, guys, if you have any questions, then reach out to your teachers. Thanks. Have a great day.